You're listening to Orlando Credit Union's On the Money. I'm your host, Kaylee Green, and today we're doing a special segment I like to call Meet the Community Leaders. Today we're talking to the president of the Hispanic Chamber of Metro Orlando, Pedro. Hi, Pedro.
Hi, Kaylee. How are you?
I was gonna say your last name, but I didn't want to butcher it, so I need you to say it for me.
Turushina.
And you said that there is a history there.
Yes, there's a story behind it. My grandfather, at age of 19, decided to change the spelling to make it more appealing to the eye, but originally it's Turucina, Turushina.
Oh,
a little more complex.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to butcher it, so I was just going to let you say it. But we're so excited that you are here today. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having us.
So before we jump into the nitty-gritty, let's talk about the Hispanic Chamber. Explain for our listeners what your mission is.
The Hispanic Chamber of Metro Orlando is one of the leading economic development agencies in Central Florida, advocating for over 3 decades for the local business community. Our mission is simple but very powerful, strengthening the Hispanic business in Central Florida. And everything that we do, programs, benefits, events, networking opportunities, are focused on 3 main pillars: commerce, coaching, and community building. And those are the key essential points for us to develop what we currently have. Now, as far as the size of our organization, we're proud to say that we are the top 3 chambers in the region and rank in the top 10 Hispanic chambers in the nation. With over 2,600 active members, we're proud to say that we are creating a successful landscape for the Hispanic business community.
That is incredible. I feel like, especially in Florida and Orlando, there's such a melting pot of so many different people here. How many businesses are Hispanic owned in Central Florida? Do you know a percentage off the top of your head?
We know the number in Florida. So in the entire state, there's over 650,000 Hispanic businesses that are identified businesses. Now, our population here in Central Florida, specifically in Orange County, population is 33% Hispanic. In Seminole, 22%. In Osceola, over 50%.
Wow. So
we're one of the fastest growing minorities here in our region. So we know that there's a big percentage of businesses here that are identified as Hispanic.
Yeah, so which means that your organization is so impactful, especially when you're seeing that growth. So talk to us more about your role specifically in the organization.
I'm proud to say that as the president and CEO, we're very focused on the strategic and the direction of the chamber. For 30 years, this organization has been advocating, like I mentioned earlier, for the Hispanic business community. Today, we're proud to say that we have the support of 58 corporate investors. And out of those 58, 13 are minority-owned companies that are Hispanic-owned, women-owned, African-American-owned, which tells you the story that now Central Florida has a different demographic in the business field. Now, those minority-owned companies are now contributing. They scale their business and now contributing back to the community. And for us here, my role specifically, putting in place those programs, those events, those benefits, and serving as a bridge of connections between those businesses and opportunities is key for us.
And that's really how you grow a business, is through opportunities, events, meeting people, networking. So it's really so important to have an organization like yours where you're connecting all of those small business owners to help them grow, because, you know, that's what makes towns like Orlando so great, is that there are so many local aspects to it, so many small businesses, and we want to keep that going. So it's really cool to see that you are doing that along with your team. So I know I touched on it a little bit in the beginning when I started asking about your last name, but we want to get to know you. So tell us a little bit about your background.
Excellent question. My background comes from a family of entrepreneurs. I'm originally from Colombia, Cali, Colombia. Moved to Orlando in 2001. And learning from my grandparents, my parents, to own and scale a business, I decided to open up a business with my brother in 2013. But at that moment, I didn't know how to grow or set up and establish a solid foundation for a business. And that's the reason why I joined the chamber. And through the chamber, I was able to scale and develop a solid foundation of a business that then a decade later, my brother and I were able to sell the business.
Wow.
And reason why I joined the chamber on this side, so now I have the experience of understanding what it takes to grow a business, a small business, and applying those nuggets of wisdom right into what we implement here, and leading one of the top organizations here it's truly an honor, and being able to put that now, as part of my story, but also into the everyday tasks and homeworks that we do here.
Yeah, it's so cool that you really had that firsthand experience, because you started small, you grew, and then now you're able to sit on the other side and say, I know exactly what you're going through and I can help you work through that. So obviously, that is part of what makes you so passionate about working for this organization. But when you're in that every day, moving through the motions, Monday through Friday, what makes you passionate when you wake up in the morning to start working?
What makes me passionate about this opportunity that I have in leading the Hispanic Chamber is connecting with business owners that are starting a business, where they have an idea in mind, and later on seeing them thrive into a successful enterprise, to see them establish their standalone business or buildings, hiring people, connecting and now contributing back, volunteering now, because they have grown and gone through all of the hurdles of opening up, especially as a minority-owned company. So seeing that and seeing the success stories of our business owners is what drives me to wake up and do this every day. And let me tell you, there's a lot of stories out there, success stories that they're still not seen. And we're doing that right through our events. We're highlighting those members or those successful stories through programs like the CEO series that Orlando Credit Union is sponsoring.
Yeah.
That for us and for the entire team is a success, and a passion.
I want to ask about the CEO series, but before I do that, you tell me that you have a bunch of success stories. I'm going to ask if you can share one. Is there any off the top of your head that you think was really impactful?
Absolutely. So we have one of our top contributors is a construction company, and we have many. So I'm not going to mention any names, because we have many of those contributing, and they're very successful stories. But one of them caught my attention when we met him a few years ago, about 3 years ago. He was developing this idea of construction in a fast-paced delivering methods.
Okay, which is important.
It is very important, and it's crucial, right? Especially after a pandemic, there was a lot of delays. And learning his story now 3 years later, that he was able to create a facility where he can turn over a hotel room in less than 1 day or 1 day.
Wow.
And then they gave him the task of, okay, can you do 300 rooms in 300 days? And he said yes. And he's successfully doing this. To me, that's a success story. He developed an idea, and now he's put it in place and now making a difference.
I feel like he's breaking records.
He is.
That is so incredible. It's stories like that just, I'm sure, make you feel good about what you're doing every day. So like I mentioned, and like you mentioned, the CEO series. Orlando Credit Union is a sponsor of the Hispanic Chamber's CEO series. We're so thrilled to be a part of it. So for our listeners, what is the CEO series, and what do you hope to achieve within this series?
And first, I have to say thank you to Orlando Credit Union, because that series started last year. And Orlando Credit Union was the first one to officially say, I'm supporting this idea. Let's contribute and join on the idea behind this series. So the series is called CEO Series for a reason. Through our experience in the past 30 years, we know that we connect with many of our C-level executives, especially Hispanic C-level executives from our region. And there was a need or a chance to bring them in front of our members. And us creating an idea or a program where we put them in a panel, where we bring them in front of our members for a face-to-face interaction. This series is especially for the higher tier members, the gold membership, where we get them the opportunity to have lunch with the C-level executives and ask them questions, potential business opportunities, successful stories on how do they became the CEO of the particular organization. But also we bring relevant information that would impact the business landscape locally. So for example, the last series, we hosted all of the higher education C-level executives from all the institutions here in Central Florida. Now, the future ones are based on sustainability, the transformation in the digital era, right? Everything is now digital. So bringing relevant information for our businesses that can capture that information and transform or adjust as they continue growing and scaling their business.
Yeah. And I think that aligns so perfectly with your mission, of just making sure that you're helping those Hispanic businesses grow and continue to impact the community. So that kind of leads into my next question. How are you hoping to see initiatives like the CEO series grow? And how are you hoping to see the Hispanic Chamber grow as a whole in the future?
The next season of the CEO series is a much broader landscape or region. So we want to capture more counties, more leaders that are making a difference in other regions surrounding counties like Osceola County, Seminole County, bringing more topics, again, focusing on the technology and what's relevant to grow your business, but also expanding. So right now it's capped to 50 participants, but creating a way to bring more individuals that are making that intentional connection. So kind of getting a little more creative on how to make that intentional connection. Because again, as soon as you see a C-level executive in front of you, you want to ask many questions and you want to make sure that you got at least 5-10 minutes with that individual and ask those questions. So we want to make sure that we bring a platform where our members can connect intentionally and at least get a long-lasting memory or relationship with that individual.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell listeners where they can go to learn more about the CEO series, about the Hispanic Chamber as a whole. Where do we go?
Excellent. So we are proud to say that we acquired HispanicChamber.com. So now we are officially HispanicChamber.com. Before we were .net. So that's a huge accomplishment for us, So it's plain, use the two words on social media, Hispanic Chamber, and on Facebook, LinkedIn, and on Twitter, we have the same handle, Hispanic Chamber.
Perfect.
The events are posted on our website. CEO series and all of the other events. We have in total 157 events throughout the year.
Wow.
All with different purposes and intentions, all with different missions. So we invite everyone to join this chamber and looking forward to seeing you at the next event.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Pedro. This was a really great conversation. I so appreciate you for being here.
Thank you, Kaylee.
To learn more about how Orlando Credit Union is partnering with organizations like this one, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn at Orlando CU4U, or visit us on our website at orlandocreditunion.org. Until next time, we're investing in you. Orlando Credit Union is providing this podcast as a public service. The information provided is neither a legal interpretation nor a statement of Orlando Credit Union policy. Reference to any specific product does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation by the credit union. Views and opinions expressed by Orlando Credit Union employees are those of the employees and do not necessarily reflect the views of the credit union or any of its officers. Orlando Credit Union is not providing any financial, economic, legal, accounting, or tax advice or recommendations in this podcast.